What's up guys, my name is Achilles and I'm one of the Sourdough Bros. Today I'm going to be making long fermented sourdough dinner rolls. So the first thing we got to do is the auto lease. The auto lease is going to greatly improve the texture and help with gluten breakdown. So for the auto lease, what we got to do is mix our water and our flour. Then we're just going to let it rest for 30 minutes. We're going to add 80 grams of water and 500 grams of flour. So now we're just going to get in here with our hands and mix it all up. When you're mixing up, you're going to want to squish it with your hands to make sure all the flour and water is incorporated together. You don't want to have any dry clumps. I'm going to wash my hands and I'm going to put a plate over this. Alright, so I'm about to go melt 50 grams of butter, and while that's melting, on low heat, we're going to set up our ingredients. So for our next step, we're just going to mix our ingredients together. Now you can knead this with your hands or you can use a stand mixer. You're basically just mixing everything together to make sure there's no dry clumps. You're going to want a smooth dough in the end. We're adding 40 grams of sugar right now. The sugar is going to get ate up by the yeast and that's going to blow up bubbles. The end result is going to have less sugar. Now we're going to add 10 grams of salt. You want to be careful, you don't want to overdo the salt. Next we're going to add 200 grams of milk. Alright, so I have our butter, and now we're going to scoop in 100 grams of sourdough starter. Now you want your starter to be active and bubbly. This is a 100% hydration starter. Alright, so we're going to set this onto our stand mixer. Now we're going to be using our dough hook attachment to incorporate everything and just bring everything together. Now again, you can just use your hands and just knead it. This is just going to be an easier option. So now we're going to add our butter. Just want to make sure it's not too hot. You don't want to kill your starter. We're going to put it on low or on stir mode for a little bit, and then we're going to speed it up, just kind of bring everything together. This part only took 8 minutes. You're going to want to mix until you get a smooth dough with no dry clumps, and every now and then you're going to want to scrape down the dough hook and the sides of the bowl to make sure you get everything incorporated. Alright, so we're gonna add some more flour until we achieve the right texture. What we want is a dry dough.
We're gonna add in our flour by
we're gonna add some more flour.
Be careful not to overdo this. We don't want to dry out the dough too much. You want to end up with a soft, slightly greasy, non-sticky dough. Again, you're just gonna want to scrape down the dough hook and the bowl as you're mixing. You just want to make sure you get everything incorporated. Eventually the dough is gonna come together and you're gonna have a nice smooth dough.
So what you should get is just a smooth dough, just a little tacky, not too sticky. So we're just gonna let that rest for a little bit. I'm gonna clean up this area now, and then I'm gonna wait for it to proof a little bit, and then we're gonna get it into the fridge. All right, now we're gonna put our dough in the fridge for 3 days just to proof longer. It's gonna be doing a cold ferment. So the cold fermentation is gonna make them more sour, and it's gonna make them the easiest to digest. That's what long fermentation is. So you're gonna get deeper flavor and easier digestion, especially for people with gluten sensitivities. It's also gonna make the nutrients more bioavailable. All right, so it's been 3 days. So we just took this out the fridge and it's been warming up for about 20 minutes. We're about to divide it now. We're gonna divide this into 12 balls and we're gonna put it inside of our greased pans. We're gonna be using stainless steel, but you can also use a glass pie pan. So this is our dough. We're gonna divide it into 12 balls and then we're gonna let it proof. So you're gonna wanna have your dough scraper and your scale. You're gonna wanna scoop your dough out onto the table. Okay. Alright, so we're going to divide that by 12. So now we're just going to divide our dough balls. Each of them is going to be about 80 grams.
So basically you're going to want to roll your dough into a log. We're going to be using our dough scraper to chop off pieces to get the right weight. Mine was 83, but yours might be different depending on how much starter, water, and flour you used. But basically you're just going to want to weigh all of your dough together and then divide it by 12 as I did.
Now we're gonna go wash this stuff off, then we're gonna divide and oil our pans. Okay, so we're gonna be oiling our pans with organic coconut oil. Now you can use a different oil. You can use beef tallow or pig fat. You can basically use any healthy animal fat, as long as you're not using seed oils or olive oil. We're just going to use our dry hand. We're just going to smear this around. If you're using a more liquid oil, then that's going to be a bit easier to use. Something like avocado oil. This is not going to slide down the sides before you put it in the oven. So this is going to be easier. It's definitely going to do you better. basically what you're going to want to do is push down in the middle, fold like this, and we're going to roll. And you want to set the seam side down. So it turns out all we needed was this one pan. Now we're just going to cover this and do the final proof. We're just going to let these double in size and then we're going to bake them. We're just going to cover these with our compostable cling wrap. This is just going to stop the skin from forming on the top of them. Now we're just going to leave this here. We're just going to let it proof. We're just going to be checking it periodically. Then once it's doubled in size, we're going to preheat the oven. We're going to let it sit on the oven for a final proof. Then we're going to put it in the oven. So our dinner rolls have doubled in size, as you can see. I would recommend taking a picture for reference, but this is going to take a different amount of time depending on where you live. If your environment is colder, it's going to take longer time. If your environment is warmer, it's going to take less time. So you don't want to watch the clock, you just want to look at it and see when it's doubled. So we're going to preheat our oven, and then we're going to set this on the oven to do a final proof while it's heating up. Alright, now we're just going to make our egg wash. Our oven is done preheating. So basically all you're going to do is mix together 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water. This is going to give it a nice brown and fluffy top, and it's also going to help trap moisture. It's going to help keep your soft dinner roll soft so they don't dry out as easily. I'm going to mix this together. We're just going to take this over there and brush the buns, then we're going to throw it in the oven. So for the egg wash, we're just going to lightly brush our dinner rolls.
So after we do our egg wash, we're just going to put this in the oven at 350 for 20 to 30 minutes. Now you just want to check once the tops are evenly browned, we're going to take it out and do our butter wash.
Alright, now we're just going to do our butter wash. We have melted butter. Now the bread is going to soak this up and it's going to make them really soft. This is going to give you some nice soft dinner rolls. Alright, now you're going to want to let this cool completely before you dig into it. You don't want it to end up gummy, so we're just going to leave this here to cool down. Alright guys, this is the final result for our soft dinner rolls. Clearly tasted them already. They're pretty good. They're pretty fluffy. I'm about to show you them right now. You know, these pull apart, nice fluffy, nice soft dinner roll. Thank you for tuning in. I hope y'all like this recipe. Please like, subscribe, and share this with a friend if you want to try this. And check out our website. We got some really cool merch and some nice features for our sourdough.